Hello and welcome to the Ripples podcast, or welcome to this live experience with the Ripples guy. It is astonishing to me that all I do is count down before I start the recording, and it tickles me so. I am so glad to have some Team Ripples Patreon community members with me live. And I know that some of you are going to be listening to the podcast recording or watching the video. And you may not be a member of our community yet and just listening to the podcast. And if that is the case, welcome. We love that you're joining us. This is the September 2024 of our monthly meetups, and we called it Ripley Harvest of Insight and Inspiration. We tend to follow a protocol, a habit of the three steps of our weekly Ripples emails: Pebble, Boulder, Ponder. Usually it's two quotes and something to think about for the week. In here, the Pebble is a resource that I am using in my work or in my life. The Boulder is an activity that I've found useful professionally or personally. And the Ponder this month is a collection of ponderables, things that I have been reading about, thinking about, and or doing. And I'm very excited to share several things with you. I will be putting some links in the chat window during our live chat, and I've done a pretty good job, I think, of putting all of those links into a place where I can upload them to the podcast information area, as well as the Patreon post and the YouTube description as well. So if you don't see a link, Google the Ripples guy and you'll find one of my social media channels or my website, and you can tell me and I will update it on play. Let's dive right in.
Yes,
A pebble. I love. Oh, and since somebody said
thank you
yes,
very much.
uh-oh,
I
so, somebody might be
got
talking to
it.
somebody else. Oh, that's Joan. Joan's muting. Hi, Joan. Um, all right, let's dive right into our Pebble, which is the a resource. And let me have, I think I already pasted the link to put in here. Some of you know the Ripples Pond, which is 2rpl.me. Well, I the link that I'm just putting in, or the quick splashes link that you can see in the descriptions, is a set of 10 times 11, 110 quotes that I put together. We originally put this list of quotes together for Leap Day, and we printed these out and shared them with a bunch of people. But I've since tweaked the language on the quotes, so these are good for anything. And I invite you, if you would like, to take this PDF and print it out. It's even got instructions on the first page. If you trim the top half inch and bottom half inch, this cuts down really easily into 2 inch tall by 4.5 inch wide little quotes. I have a sample pack here that I'm taking with me tomorrow to an open house of a new business opening up in my neighborhood, and I'll be sharing it. You may also know that out front of Markleman Manor, where we live, there is a free library. And if you don't know what a free library is, they started in one of my hometowns, Madison, Wisconsin, and they're now sprinkled in throughout neighborhoods all over the country. And they're just a little box that people put up in their front yard and stock it with books. And in our neighborhood, we have a couple kids that bike through the neighborhood, rotating the books to different free libraries so that the books get well shuffled up. I just think it's so awesome. At the bottom of our free library, Jamie built me a little Ripples box. And so if you open up that box, it has a little place where you can reach in and you can help yourself to a quote. And we have neighbors with kids that come almost every day to come by, and we've loved having it there. A few months ago, I got a letter that Jamie and I have been um, reading over and crying almost every time, and I wanted to share it with you. It's not the kind of thing I feel like I can post on social media. I think it ends up coming off as a humble brag, but I knew I could share it with you all. This was dated May 20th of 2024. Dear neighbors. Oh, and I'll say I didn't find this. We didn't find this right away because we don't check our own box all the time. And they put it in the upper box. We were pretty good about checking the Ripples quotes every day, but we hadn't looked in a while. And so in early June, we found this quote, this letter from apparently a few weeks ago. Dear neighbors, it says, I wanted you to know that your Ripple box with inspirational quotes has saved my life these past few weeks. I am going through the unbearable pain of being a mother who has been separated from her young child through the evil of my abusive husband. About 6 weeks ago, I stopped eating and drinking fluids and was in the hospital for a week. When I got out, my church placed me in this boarding house here in your neighborhood. Although I feel like I can't move on from this depression, I get up and go for a walk every day. And I don't let myself turn around and go home until I've made it to your house and gotten my quote for the day. Making it to the Ripples box becomes a microcosm of whether I choose to live or choose to die. You never know the ripple effect that you have on people. And now you know the ripple effect you have on me. Thank you for this gift. And please keep making more quotes. And you and I know, I mean, you all are part of the Ripples community, and we have it in our veins that little things have an ongoing difference. And I'm sure I've said a gazillion times in presentations in the weekly Ripples emails, you just never know the impact you're having. And I certainly can intellectually appreciate that of all the quotes that I've sprinkled around my neighborhood and the world, I know that some of them really make a difference to people. I get that intellectually. It it's really powerful and it's really helpful to sometimes get a reminder of just how significant some of those small ripples are. And I invite you to take these quotes and print them out. You can cut them out with scissors if you don't have a cutter and put them somewhere where people can see them. Leave a few at your grocery store. Put them up on uh, community bulletin boards or coffee houses. Leave them somewhere where people can find them. You just never know. And I put on each one of the quotes has where people can go to the link that I just put here so that they can download them as well. Wow. The Pebble was a big one today. The Boulder. Um, oh, and what's funny is our Pebble this week was a little bit longer. The Boulder's a quick one. This is a question. I started to share it with you. I just learned about it just before the last Zoomy Zoom. And at the last minute, I pulled it out of the content because instead of just telling you about it, I wanted to try it for a month. So every weekday, most of you know that I do a morning staff meeting with myself, and I have a little checklist of items that I use, pull up my Apple Notes, and I go through this checklist. And one of them is to kind of map out what I'm going to do today. And the last question of the staff meeting is, what would it mean to be done for today? And I got the question from, oh, I see the slide, but you're not in front of it as usually, only up with the other participants. Thank you for saying this, Sally. For some reason, Sally is not seeing me spotlighted.
Oh, I'm seeing you just fine, so I don't know.
Sally, if you want, if you go under where I am and you pin me, then it'll definitely or look under gallery because that's my guess is that it needs to be in the center. Um, thank you for letting me know. Where was I? Boulder. Oh, I was going to get this oop, and I didn't share a second. I'll swing back around and share that. It's not grabbing friendly. Be my friend. Be my friend. There we go. Oh, now I need to make sure I don't just send this to everyone in meeting. I got this from Oliver Burkeman's The Imperfectionist newsletter. You all know that I love, love, love Oliver Burkeman and his 4,000 Weeks time management book. And he was quoting another speaker, and in his newsletter, he gives a link to like a 3 or 4 minute video where a psychologist unpacks the idea that since for most of us, there is no such thing as getting done with all the things we have to do, and at the end of the day, we know there's emails we're not going to get to, there's tasks we're not going to get to, and it's very easy to feel like, did I do anything today? Because there's so much still left to do, and in many cases, it's an ongoing, never-ending list. And to ask yourself at the beginning of the day to define what done looks like, so that you're not leaving yourself at the end of the day with this and I just absolutely, it has changed things for me so much. I will tell you that not every day can I answer this question. And in particular, on days like today and on Tuesday night when I have the Zoom and I'm going till late in the day, it feels like I'm not going to get done till I get done with that meeting. And even then, it doesn't feel as tight as the other days when I can say, I want to do these 3 things, and and that will feel done regardless of what time it is and all that stuff. And most days, I would say 80% of the time, this question is helping me probably get done about the same amount as I've always got, but feel so much better about the moment of completion. So I encourage you to try it and see if it means. And I think it was Beth said that she has discussed this boulder with several groups of people. It's profound. Awesome. That probably means Beth is getting the Oliver Burkeman newsletter, which is dreamy. Try it and see, shall we? I've got 3 things I hope to share with you, possibly a fourth if we have time. And this is the biggest chunk of information. I stumbled upon something called humans given therapy. It's a approach to therapy that I hadn't heard of before. The idea that our mental health depends on meeting essential emotional and physical needs. So if you think about like it's a given, using the term that way, these are the human givens, the emotional and physical needs that we have. And what really struck me about this article, I got it from psyche.co, and I've mentioned them to you all before, and I really I really like, it's a British um excuse me. It's a British organization that basically collects psychology research. And while I think its primary audience is people who are full-time practitioners, clinical social workers, psychologists, etc., I'm as a layperson, I find it highly readable, and I understand most of what I read, and it's just great. They spell a lot of words wrong because those people over there haven't understand that certain words don't have are OR, not OUR. I forgive them for it. But this human givens, or HG therapy, you mentioned the term emotional needs audit. And I just want to go through quickly. I put links so you can get to this, but I wanted to share with you um, the 9 items in their audit. Security, having a safe territory for us to live and work in without undue fear. Autonomy, a degree of control over what happens in our lives. Attention, giving it and receiving it, which enhances our development as human beings. I certainly understand that we all need attention. I've never thought about our need to not just get attention, but also give it. And that intuitively made a lot of sense to me. Emotional connection isn't a surprising one. A loving relationship with at least one other person, intimate or not. Community, belonging to social groupings beyond our family. Status, feeling accepted and respected as the people we are. Privacy, having sufficient time and space to reflect on and learn from our experiences. Again, I think introverts know that, like my story is introverts need this. I've never really thought about, we all need private time, quiet time, solo time. It just makes a lot of sense. Competency and achievement, recognizing our capabilities and seeking to build on them. And then meaning, the sense that our lives are purposeful, that they matter. And I'll just quickly point out that the second link that I put up in this area is a very simple PDF that is the emotional needs audit. And when I clicked on the PDF and opened it on my browser, it comes up as a PDF form that you can actually complete you can click for each of the items you score. Do you feel secure in all major areas of your life, such as homework or environment? For each items, you rank on a scale of 1, which is no, and to 7 is yes, and in between is sometimes. And you sort of you can click these, and then you can just hit save and save that completed version and come back to it in a week and see if things have changed, or use it as a way to say it has a little scoring that basically says, if your scores are mostly low, you need to focus on things. And even one low score can really suggest that you might have some real stress to focus on. And it gives you a sense of, okay, this stuff is good. Yay. Maybe I need to focus on this a little bit. And I've been thinking about this, and even not returning to this list of 9, which I actually think I will do from time to time, doing an emotional needs audit. I mean, that term. And I feel like I could say to Jamie at dinner, let's do an emotional needs audit. Like, what are your needs? What's going on? And I just like the terminology. It's fantastic. Ponderous, no? Strolling through Facebook Reels, and it turns out this is also on TikTok and also on Instagram. I stumbled upon a really short, I think it's 2 minutes long, clip from the Drew Barrymore show. This guy, Matthew Hussey, is talking to Drew Barrymore. And the title of the clip is Loving Ourselves Isn't a Feeling, It's a Job. And again, for the sake of making sure that I do it, I'll real quickly do the paste so that if you want to open this up, ignore, I just posted a little bit too much there. I put links to Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok up there. But I just want to read to you a couple of the lines. He's explaining to her, he says, imagine at the beginning of your life that you were given a human and you were told you have one job. For the rest of your life, you have to take care of this human. Most of us, he goes on, have not realized that this is our number one job. We go out into the world and we start looking for someone else to show up for us. But we are our human. The only person who's truly here to take care of me is me. I'm in my custody. When you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, what would I do today if I was taking care of my human? And everything I just shared with you is a quote. I sort of pulled it out of that short clip. But I just love that he says, loving ourselves isn't a feeling, it's an approach, it's a job. And I'll pause just long enough and ask you to reflect for a moment. If you woke up tomorrow morning and the first thing you said is, my number one job, my babysitting job for the day is to babysit me, how might that change what's on your to-do list, how you motivated yourself to accomplish it, how much grace you gave yourself when you didn't do something? I tried this just for a couple days, and I noticed immediately the obvious thing of how differently I talk to myself than I talk to Jamie. And I would never come home if he comes home with from a hard day, and I would never talk to him the way I talk to myself and berate him for, what did you do wrong? Why, how did you deserve this bad day? I would not say that to my sweetie. Why do I say that to this sweetie? Let's keep pondering that, shall we? The next thing I have to share with you, a lot of these I'm inviting you to sample, to think about, to see if you want to do. The next thing I have to talk to you about is shocking, is bold, And I am not necessarily telling you to try it. I am telling you, if you even want to try it, you need to be responsible and think about your physical and mental health and maybe consult a doctor. That's what I have to say about cold showers. I have been reading about cold showers and a lot of them in these broy type posts that are all about you can recover from your workouts and it'll help you grow muscle and your testosterone level, blah, blah, blah. And soaking in cold water tubs. No, thank you. But I kept catching some hints that there was research behind taking cold showers. And so I just dove in and I did some digging. And this is a partial list of not just things that people think are groovy, but where research has borne out most of these things involve research protocols where they're having people take anywhere from as short as 2 to 5 minute cold showers. But for a total, most of the results here they're finding peak at 10 minutes of cold shower a week. So this is what I'm about to share with you are things that you can get by taking 1.5 to 2 minute cold showers at the end of your shower each day till it adds up to 10 minutes. Mood elevation, jolting you awake. And I promise you, it's not shocking, but let me tell you, you cannot feel sleepy after you take a couple minute cold shower. Improved circulation, increased metabolism for a period of time, boosting your immune system. It actually stimulates the production of white blood cells, reducing inflammation, and can help with headaches, easing depressive symptoms. This is interesting. Now, in this particular study, it was 2 times a day taking 2 to 5 minute cold showers. So that was a little bit more intense, and it took a couple weeks to see measurable increase. But it was a rather profound increase in the ease of depressive, sorry, not increase, a decrease in symptoms of depression. Fine-tune focus, and the one that caused me to say I'm going to try this is the building resilience and specifically training your body and your brain to tolerate discomfort in a way that it wasn't. And you all know, where's my little seek comfort? You all know that seeking, oh, it doesn't want to show up on the screen. Seeking comfort and seeking challenge, then talking about this balance is a core part of every presentation I give. I talk about finding that balance all the time. And with the new students at Cal Poly, stressing that discomfort is required for growth. You cannot remain comfortable and grow into the best possible version of yourself. And I've only been doing this for about a month or so since I got back from Colorado. But I will tell you, even though I'm somebody that's been teaching for 25 years the value of discomfort, I have a new relationship with just how unpainful, how unharmful short amounts of discomfort are. And one of the things that started happening, I don't for the first couple of weeks, I took warm showers, regular temperature showers, and then turned off the hot water. I just step in now. And instead of trying to distract myself, instead of talking or singing, which these articles will encourage you to think to try, instead of going back and forth between warm and cold, which is a fine way to get some of these other benefits, I step in and I let myself feel the discomfort. And I say right before, this is going to be cold at first, and I'm going to feel it. I'm not going to try to avoid it. I'm just going to notice where in my body do I feel it? Where exactly? What does it feel like? How would I describe it to somebody who isn't feeling it? And I will tell you that it takes about 30 seconds for my body to be when I was going from warm water to cold water. When the water turned cold, it would take about 30 seconds, and my body it no longer felt like cold water. It didn't feel the same as warm water, but it just feels like water that's the temperature of my skin. It was kind of like neutral because my skin is matching the temperature of it. And I will tell you, I've gotten that down to about 5 to 6 seconds now where I feel the discomfort and it feels like little pricklies, especially right here, and on the back of my neck. And it doesn't actually feel like a stream. It feels like little beep, beep, beep. And then after I would say 5 seconds now, I can't describe to you what the discomfort feels like because it just feels like water. And there isn't really anything that's like discomfort. I'm enjoying the invigoration. And I will even confess to you that there have been a couple days where I let myself do a warm water because I didn't feel like doing the cold, and that's fine. I've gotten back in the shower in the afternoon because I missed the cold water shower. Do not do this unless you are 100% convinced you want to do it and you are positive that your doctor would approve and your mental health, that you're not doing this out of some weirdness. All the disclosures, all the cautions. This isn't something, this affects your body. And so you want to be mindful and responsible about that. And if you end up trying, please let me know because I'm quite curious to see if anyone is willing to try this. Um, I do. We're getting close to the end of our time. I want to squeeze in a heavy one, and um, it's about scammy messages. Let me make sure. Nope. Let me really quickly. Sorry, I want to really quickly paste the cold shower articles. There's three, and just remember, I'm going to put these in the summaries as well. But this last thing I'd like to share with you is a little on the heavier side, and I would like you to at least think about it, even if you don't read the articles or listen to the podcast. The podcast I stumbled upon this summer was from Search Engine, the guy who used to do the Reply All podcast that many of us loved. He has a new podcast called Search Engine, and he continues kind of what Reply All was was about, and that is answering people's questions and like, how do we get to the bottom of this? And this episode, who's behind all the scammy messages you've been getting lately, um, did a very deep dive, and this is in particular about the scam messages that you get that pretend to be like reaching somebody else or just saying, "Hey, how are you doing?" Those types of messages. And it turns out there's a very good chance that the person that sent you that text has themselves been have themselves been scammed and are very possibly victims of human trafficking. And there is just an awful epidemic of people in Southeast Asian countries being recruited for what they are told are high-paying, IT jobs, and where you can learn how to do IT work even if you don't have experience, and you can then take this intense job and build on it and build your resume and go get jobs and make lots and lots of money. And then it turns out that they are in somewhat similar to indentured servitude. They are often taken to another country and charged room and board and the cost of training, and they are often locked in rooms with a dozen, in some cases dozens of cell phones in front of them, and they are um, these phones are programmed to send text to numbers that have been purchased on the dark web. And then when somebody responds, their job is to try to engage the person. And and then once this person is properly engaged, then it gets handed off to a higher level person that has more training. And then there's a very disturbing term used called pig butchering, that is talking about these scams where they fatten people up. They often actually reward people who are on the other end of these scams initially so that they think this is a good thing, and or ask for small sums of money in exchange for uh, uh, large returns, for example, and then will actually deposit some money in their account so that they believe that these scams are working, and then life savings are drained, or retirement savings are greatly reduced. And the CNN article that I've also included a link to also talks about the similar thing, and people who are ending their lives because people often don't report that they've been victims of these scams, because they're embarrassed, because they're ashamed. And I share this very heavy, sad story with you in part, the best practices with when you get it. Some people think, oh, I'm gonna play with this person, I'm gonna mess with them, and I'm gonna show them it, because then if I'm wasting their time, they're not scamming somewhere else. Well, just know that there's a chance that this person is actually being scammed, or are being harmed themselves even, and to delete it and do not engage with it, and to read up, as hard as some of the information is, to read up and discover that people who are very smart, who are very savvy. I can tell you, um, I have come very close to acting on things that I shouldn't have went because I when it's the first time you get an email and it's a new form of scam, you don't know. And there was one time where I thought the email was real. I have had friends that work full time in IT that are extremely savvy that have taken phone calls and engaged with people because they believed it was real or possibly real. And luckily, they felt comfortable telling me so that I could say to you all, this isn't about brains. A lot of times it is about the combination of um, emotion and they know something that you don't. They have information that you don't yet have, and you don't realize that you're being set up. Um, and yay for AARP. I'll tell you, I'm 57 now. I've been reading my AARP magazines since the month I turned 50, and they have a podcast about scamming, and that I listen to that that just talks about what are all the new scams out there. So that's a little bit heavier of a thing. And I will whisper to Sister Joan that the thing that didn't make my list is that awesome video that you shared with me with the two wise words. I'm going to save that for next time. So amazing. But because I want to keep this podcast and recording length the right size, and because I am so excited to share some cool stuff with the folks that are on with me live, and in order to do that, I need to turn off our recording. I want to wrap up our time by getting rid of my background, by unspotlighting me, and by saying to everyone who is on here, thank you for joining us, and to everyone listening, thank you. And if the people whose cameras are on could wave to the camera, I will turn off the recording and we will say goodbye to those folks. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.